I don't know what that means. Is this mic on? Yeah, it is, yeah. Hello, how are you doing? So, you should be in the moment and do one thing at a time. That's what we're going to talk about. What does that mean? Well, life's very good at distracting us, you know. We only have a very short attention span. And that's why I always say you should live your days with intent, because if you live your days with intent, that means that you're going to get more done, because, I know we go to work and we have a list of things that we have to get done. So that's kind of with intent. But what I really mean is creating your day with intent, which relates to your long-term goals. So rather than just drawing up a to-do list, because the problem with a to-do list is it eventually becomes a not to-do list, which means it keeps growing, you never get to the bottom of it. And the things on most people's to-do list are usually things that they think they have to do. Someone wants this, someone wants that, my boss has asked for this. That list just keeps growing. And the real measure of that list is whether it's actually driving you forwards in terms of your life goals. So, and what actually happens is when you're sort of working through this to-do list, and there might be 10 things on it and you're trying to tick them off, because they're not really in alignment with your life goals or your identity, as I say, you tend to get distracted very easy when you're not. And I think you can get very distracted when you're not doing what you really want to do. So if your to-do list is not driving you forwards towards your life goals, it's very easy to get distracted by life. We've only got a short attention span of around about, well, it depends, right? There's a lot of focus on this. There's books like, is it Cal Newport's book, Deep Work? You've got the Atomic Habits, you've got all this stuff, right? And all these books that are focusing on it. And absolutely all of them focus around something that's closer to, the Pomodoro method, where you spend 20 minutes of deep focus and then you switch off and you have a little break and then you go in and you spend another 20 minutes. And in the, Cal Newport's Deep Work, he talks about 90-minute blocks as being the maximum. Now, in my experience, you can only focus for 90 minutes if it's something that you're super into and it's getting you forward. In other words, it's one of them tasks that's really, really going to move you forwards in life. It's on your long-term goals, you're super interested in it, then you can do 90 minutes. If it isn't that, you can't do 90 minutes. You struggle to do 20 minutes. Especially if it's just your usual to-do list. I'm going into work, my boss says I've got to do this, that and the other. You're lucky if you get fucking 20 minutes on that stuff, right? Just because you're not super interested in it. So this is why, like I always say, do 3 things a day. Focus on what are the top 3 things that I need to do today. And then make sure that all them 3 things are aimed at your long-term goals, right? Your life goals. Then you're more likely to be able to give it that focus. Now, if you think about the focus, you don't need to focus for 90 minutes. You need to focus for, say, somewhere between 20 minutes and 1 hour, right? Each task. And if you just do 3 of them each day, that could be 1 hour's of work, right? 3 20-minute tasks, or maybe 3 hours at the most. You'll achieve more than you've ever achieved. Even if you do that 1 day a week, well, I wouldn't say, I'd say do that every day, or at least 5 days. You'll achieve more in a week than you'll achieved in the previous year. If you've never worked like that before, it's super powerful. So here's what I do, right? This is what I mean about being in the moment, right? You sacrifice that focus period of time to do exactly what you need to do at this precise moment, and you do it, right? And you understand that your attention span's short-lived. So you're okay. You say, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And it just takes that amount of time, and you just do it, right? And then when you've done, you take a little break. And then you go and do another one, right? Another half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. And then you take another break, and then you go and do your last one, right? You might have by this point, you might need to eat or whatever. And then you go and do your third one, right? And once you've done these 3 things like that, these focus blocks of time, you can then relax. You've achieved your day. Now, you could carry on and do more, but you don't have to work as intensely. You know, when you go into work and we've got all these things like this big long to-do list, and a lot of it's admin, and it's fucking boring. You don't want to do it. It's not going to get you any further, but it's just things that you have to do. It might be, you know, random admin or whatever that it's just got to be done. Leave them until you've done your 3 things. Once you've done your 3 things, you feel superb. You've achieved more than you've ever achieved. And then all the mind-numbing to do, all the random stuff, leave that for later. You can do that at your leisure. It doesn't even matter if you do that, because you're going to get more. These 3 things are going to move the needle. You're going to get more results from them than all the, got to reply to this email, I've got to go in this meeting, all this pointless stuff that's not going to move you forwards. So if you commit to that time, I would say always try and do it in the morning as soon as possible. Get your 3 things out of the way, focus blocks of time, little breaks in between. You'll achieve more than you ever have. You'll feel fantastic. And then you can, the pressure's off them for the day, right? And you've lived with intent. Here's what I do. So every day I write down today in my journal, I've got 3 small things that I will do today, working towards my goals. I've got one of my businesses, I've got to do some website optimization, right? So I'm going to do that. Probably take me an hour, that's quite a big one. I've sent a proposal to a client, I've got to get it agreed. I'm going to do that. Get that agreed one way or another, whether it's just want a decision on it, what the next steps are, that's another one. That's probably like, depending, you know, it could be 10 minutes, that, just a quick phone call, might be 20 minutes, who knows. And then another one on my other business, I've got to reach out for some collaboration, right? And that is basically just contacting someone. Those are my top 3 things. And if you think about it, there's only one of them that sounds like work. 2 of them are phone calls, aren't they? Right? But if I look at these now, the first one, website optimization, yes, you know, this is just one of my businesses. It's like a new sort of product feature I want to get out there and communicate. I will go in, write a draft, and then I'll pass it off to someone else to sort of refine, of course, get it SEO optimized. But that'll take me an hour to pull that together, you know. That's real work. That's like a long game. You think about it. SEO, website optimization. This is like one of the generic skills that you got to learn about sales and things, right? So that's a long game. The next one, get that proposal agreed. That could be a 10-minute call. But what that means is that proposal is worth, say, a few months of money. So if I get that agreed in 10 minutes, it's like, think of the impact that I'd have on my life. Rather than doing that fucking to-do list, I've got to send this email, I've got to get this meeting done, I've got to do this, I've got to write that. All that stuff, which won't get me anywhere, a 10-minute phone call could do it. That's what I'm saying. These 3 things, they're not nothing. The needle movers, the things that move you closer to your goals. And this is how you should think. What are the top 3 things that I could do today with the biggest impact? Get a proposal agreed. Could last months, if not years, of money. Reach out for some collaboration. Same again, new business, launching. Could be a big impact. Website optimization, that one's a slower game, that, because SEO takes time. But if one of the things that I've done with my main business, one of the main things why we One of our USPs is how good we have our SEO, search engine optimization, and our messaging and all that. It's a very long game, can take years, but that is almost like a delayed gratification. You invest now, you get good at those skills, and it will eventually pay off, because there is a huge difference if you get organic SEO compared to, otherwise you've got to pay for traffic and it costs a lot of money. So it's like upfront investment. What I'm trying to get at is all them 3 things that I've wrote down here in my journal, these, top 3 things of the day, all relate back to 2 of my primary goals, right? 2 businesses. And then it doesn't really matter. And this is the thing, right? I've been working like that for years. And people look at me and go, I hardly work. Well, I do. But I do things that are impactful. I don't sit there for 10 hours a day making cups of tea and tossing it off, going into pointless meetings and things, and responding to every email. You know what I mean? And that doesn't work. You need to be a bit more living with intent, focus, be in the moment. Choose what are the top 3 things I need to do today. Make sure they're worth doing, and you're only going to spend between 20 minutes and an hour on each of them. Maybe 90 minutes at a push if you're really into it, but you don't usually. You just want them focused blocks of time, right? And do that. And be really intentful. And then you can end up working 2-3 hours of focused time a day. All right, you got some breaks in between. Maybe it takes you a few hours, 4 or 5 hours, but you'll do more than you ever have. And that's what you should do. All right. Stop letting all the nonsense and big long to-do list distract you. Go and focus on what are the top 3 things that are gonna make the biggest impact, change your life today. All right? I'm gonna shoot. Got a bit more to do. See you all next time.